Welcome to the great fishing adventure. The trip itself can be an adventure. New countries, new people, perhaps some new sorts of fish, and you're not often disappointed. We won't show much of the airports, hotels and bars. We all know what these look like, but we will concentrate on the fishing. And apart from brief introductions of the different destinations, we'll be fishing all the time, and fish are found all over the world. Sometimes gigantic tarpon will be tempting us. At other times the challenge will be trying to creep up on a grayling or trout in a quiet stream. But an adventure in a foreign country is always exciting. Havana, Cuba, is a very exciting city. There's music everywhere and the atmosphere is very relaxed. Havana's different to many capital cities, with its mix of modern cars, old American vehicles from the 50s and 60s, and the occasional horse. There are no advertising hoardings, apart from the huge signs with political messages, a reflection of Cuba's interesting political history. At the Plaza Revolucion, you feel the presence of history, and it's easy to imagine the heat and tension of the political meetings during the 60s, when more than 1 million people might take part. On the front of one of the buildings in the plaza hangs a portrait of Che Guevara himself. And Cuba's tallest building is the 142-metre-high monument to José Martí, poet, writer and hero of the revolution. There are postcards, books, t-shirts and much more on sale, all with Che's portrait. There are some other pictures, perhaps one of Castro just for a change. There's music everywhere, especially in old Havana, where musicians gather to play. Cigars are an important part of Cuba's culture, and it's not just tourists who enjoy a genuine hand-rolled Havana. Ernest Hemingway was known to enjoy life in Havana and loved fishing the waters around Cuba. There's plenty to see and enjoy in Havana. We paused in this lovely oasis in the middle of town for a moment's relaxation before our fishing trip. And now, after a long journey by bus and boat, we've arrived at the flats south of Cuba. This is an area of mangroves, lagoons and channels. With the help of guides, we fish from skiffs, special flat-bottom boats for fishing in shallow waters. There's a huge variety of fish on offer, but we want bonefish, a saltwater grayling with a jet engine. A pure accident. The guide hit the photographer on the head with his pole. Or is it because we complained about how he was punting the boat a few moments ago?
Nu ska jag dra in hela min syjunta jag har med mig på linan här.
Another bonefish on Pally's fly. Keep control of your line because things happen fast.
Crazy stuff. Okej. Sen har jag ett halvt ton med gräs här också. Okej. Hoppa. Nice fish.
Paradise for frozen Scandinavian fishermen. Midwinter fishing in January for willing Cuban bonefish. Now we've had our fill of bonefish, we glide into the narrow channels of the mangrove swamp with its strong tidal currents to look for baby tarpon. Smaller fish from 5 to 30 kilos. Close to the outlet of a channel, we see some shadows in the water. Pal is quick to cast his fly.
Okay, he's gone.
Lots of travel agents can arrange trips to Cuba, to different destinations with a variety of activities. Fishing is in the national parks, providing unspoiled waters with a low level of fishing activity. A dream destination for saltwater fly fishermen. High in the mountains of northern Bosnia, you can find crystal clear chalk streams with lots of interesting fishing. We're going to fish the racing waters of the Una, Unac, Sanica and Ribnik rivers, surrounded by some stunning scenery. This exciting destination is easily reachable from almost all countries in Europe.
Jan, okay?
Jan, yes, thank God.
Fishing's restricted to special areas where you can get fishing licences. And on the Unac, a fisheries inspector has arrived to help us with a licence.
Det blir varmt, ja.
We're fishing mainly in the Una, in the middle of the village of Martinbrod. The river's wide and shallow, which means there's a very large area which can be fished. If you look down from the bridge, you can see the fish moving in the current. The Unats boast some spectacular and beautiful waterfalls, which are well worth a stroll in the woods. For many, Bosnia is still associated with a war-torn country, but times change. The war ended in 1995. Time hasn't healed all wounds, and you still see a few ruins, but the people are positive and hopeful, and as a tourist, you help to rebuild the country. Sanica is a fairly new area, and grayling's the main attraction in this pretty river. The warm weather makes fishing difficult, and both Hakia and Thomas are forced to give up and expose their pale bodies to the sun. After the slow pace of the Sanica, we move to the Ribnik, where large stoneflies are hatching and the fish are biting well. Our local guide's a professional fly tyer and a skillful fly fisherman. Despite the hatching stoneflies, Jan has decided to go for the big, deep-lying fish, and the Czech nymph gives him instant success.
Med mig, Janne.
Det ska vara så här. Nice fish. Ja, fin här. Och en rejäl fisk. Kan bli puppmätare med också kanske.
On the way home, we stop at a riverside restaurant. In the stream, we can see dark shadows moving. The waiter provides us with some stale bread, and the giant trout get a top-class meal. When we ask, of course, if fishing's allowed, the answer's a definite no. This is the classic start to a salmon fishing trip to the Kola Peninsula in Russia. We've landed in Murmansk, and the journey starts with a typical Russian delay. Waiting for something that might arrive sometime, but unable to say when it might happen. we're waiting for a plane load of French fishermen who'll arrive sometime and then a transfer to our hotel sometime today. When the bus finally arrives, our welcome's in the form of cloudy weather, leaden skies and a concrete grey town. The next day, we're back at the airport, full of expectations. The helicopter's waiting to take us out to the tundra and the Yokanga River for a week of salmon fishing. Now it's hurry, hurry, everything into the helicopter and away we go. Inside the helicopter, the wall of sound reminds us of the end of the world, and the old military helicopter's furnishings seem to tell us that it too is nearing retirement. But outside you can see the endless tundra and its beckoning rivers and lakes. Suddenly, the Yokanga River's beneath us. The river meanders its way through the flat countryside, a river of falls, long lakes and slower sections between the rushing waters. The helicopter lands by our tents and we quickly make ourselves at home. We live in spacious house tents with wooden floors, and all the comforts needed for a fishing week are in place. On the first day, we travel to the furthest part of our waters and fish in a deep neck of water. We fish from the land and the boat. There are millions of mosquitoes, so mosquito hats are a must for survival. The fish aren't biting today, but the first day was still very pleasant, ending with a lovely sunset. A new day and new conditions. Jussi had seen a fish above a rock in the neck of water, and after provoking it with a fly, he got it to attack. We fish from an anchored boat. When the fish bites, our guide, Igor, rows to the shore so the fish can be landed.
Could be 6 kilos, 5, 6. Yeah.
Net?
Yeah, net.
Net?
Kola lax. Thank you once again for a netting.
Yeah.
Well done. And keeping the boat in position. It was a very nice take when the fish came up. The first time I saw the fish coming up, and then I put the fly on his head to provoke the fish. In the end, the fish got very provoked and angry, and he took the fly. I think 3-4 times I splashed on the fish. Yeah. You don't want to see a pleased fisherman. That's a good fly, but this is a pleased fisherman.
In the evening, we gather in the military tent, our dining room, for a communal dinner. We enjoy a delicious soup and a lively discussion about today's fishing. Now, this isn't a menu from a luxury restaurant, but the French have had their wine and we're enjoying Russian white wine, also known as vodka, with our meal. In other words, we're enjoying ourselves and above all these get-togethers with other fishermen, which are such an important part of any trip. We return to the same spot, and now Uffy's got a salmon.
Problem. Big problem. Oh dear.
The catches haven't been so good this week, so it feels extra special when the rod bends and the line stretches.
Okay. I alla fall backingen in, eller running line. Yahoo! Där satt den! Ja! Äntligen. Han fick brännmärken i handen när han drog till. Han rusade rakt ner.
That was a quick release.
Ja, det var det jäkligt. Aj. Så ser de ut. Kolla laxarna. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very glad.
Me too. Härlig känsla. Nu är man i alla fall inte sämst.
The fishing week passes all too quickly, and Uffe can proudly show off his beard.
Skägg har jag också börjat skaffat. Kolla. Det kommer inte Maj att känna igen mig.
We take some stubble and some mosquito bites, as well as lots of pleasant memories on the flight back to Murmansk. It's our last evening in Murmansk, and from the hotel we hear some strange sounds outside the window. This grey, sleepy town has awakened, and the square's alive and sparkling with colour. New Zealand is a fly fishing paradise, the two islands providing all the exciting fishing you could ever wish for. Most fishermen are looking for rainbow and brown trout, but you can also get Chinook salmon, and in the Bay of Islands at the tip of the North Island there are plenty of chances for saltwater fly fishing. We're on our way to Kahurangi National Park in the northern part of the South Island to fish in the Karamea River. To reach the less fished areas, we've hired a helicopter in Nelson. A trek of several days is replaced by a short helicopter trip. We take off from a small hill, surrounded by sheep. The sheep are definitely in the majority in New Zealand, with about 40 million sheep and 4 million people. After just a few minutes, the landscape changes dramatically, from farmland to mountain ranges with deep valleys between the green peaks. Gliding over the valleys, we're surprised at how dense the vegetation is. Must be impossible to find a landing site, but a clearing suddenly appears, and there's our hut. Our guide is Peter Warren, who will help us to find the large brown trout in the Karamea River. With his giggling laugh, he confirms most of the time that we've done something silly. You'll have to look long and far to find a shyer fish.
Yes! Yep. Yay!
Oh,
slow!
There is something wrong with the road.
No, only the rod holder.
Well, now it's gone.
Now it's gone.
Yep.
The brown beak underneath that transformer. You just get the odd window.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, there he is. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, try him.
You have to creep around quietly and carefully, And when you finally reach your spot, you get really hooked up to the rainforest instead.
Okay.
80% of all plants and trees here are only found in New Zealand. In Kahurangi, we see a mountain rainforest with beech trees, sometimes called false beech, and it's only here on these islands. A lot of the fish are hard to see, and the ones you see best are the most difficult to get to bite, as they seem to know how vulnerable they are. We're fishing a mix of dry fly and nymph, with a strike indicator made from a bit of white poly yarn. Peter had noticed one of these well-camouflaged trout under a fast-flowing surface current, where it felt safe. But my Brit managed a cast and got it to take the little nymph.
Go down there with the net. You stay here. I'll go down there with the net, and you try and bring him over to the net. When he comes over to the net, just lift it up so that his head comes up to the net, and try and put the fish over the top of the net. Okay? You just keep on trying to bring him back into here.
What fish, what waters, and the countryside. A really beautiful trout from the Kairamaia River is returned to its natural environment. Thanks for the fight. New Zealand's a fantastic destination, and there's a lot to discover here. Nature offers a wide variety, from the windy coastal areas, the steppe-like interior and the Great Lakes. You can travel around for months without getting bored, and there are endless opportunities to fish. You can get to the fishing stretches by car, jeep, boat or helicopter, or even walk, and discover that spot just off the beaten track where you can find the biggest fish. The national licence lets you fish almost everywhere, and the most exciting thing is, there are fish everywhere as well. Mexico has much to offer the saltwater fly fishermen. There are lots of fishing lodges and the country has a very long coastline. Our fishing trip to Mexico starts with a 2-day warm-up, fishing for bonefish at Cozumel before we take on the really big tarpon. We've taken a boat out to one of the lagoons where we wade around looking for fish. We see a few tailing fish during the first hour, but the fishing's slow. Despite a lot of careful searching, we only managed to hook a few fish. The water's very low. The line's always getting caught on the bare coral, so that the fish managed to break off the leader. At the end of the first day, we decide on the classic solution. Get up even earlier to catch the tailing fish at dawn, which means setting out in total darkness.
It's very difficult fishing. We saw lots of tailing fish in the morning.
Per, who'd arranged this trip for us, told us about the well-equipped luxury bus decorated with a bonefish motif, which the guide used. When we saw the bus, we realised he was joking. There were no side doors and no fixed seats, just plastic chairs, but there was a bonefish painted on the front door. During the trip to the hotel, we saw the unusual sight of a motorbike with 4 passengers. We thought this must be a record, until we saw a pair of chubby legs under the woman's arm, which means 5 on the same bike. The second day's fishing gave us some good catches, and Uffe landed a really nice bonefish. The guide handed the fish to him. Doesn't it look like he's holding a baby? This is our main destination, Isla Holbox Island, a little Caribbean island off the furthest tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. You fish with fast sinking lines to present the fly in front of the rolling fish. They come up to the surface, turn and swim down a few meters, so you need to get the line out quickly.
That's a fat fish, I tell you that. That was a big one.
After several days of strong winds, the conditions improve, and Janne lands one of the giants we've travelled so far to meet.
I have no 20 liter. No, 50. 50 pound. Swedish leaders. Nice. Must be 80 pounder or.
After the fish had made his first powerful jump, there follows a long contest between man and fish, and it can take a while before the fish is in the boat.
Over the head, shit.
We're well into the month of May, and it's really warm at midday. Jan is sweating a lot through every pore.
Yeah, I'm strong.
No, you are strong. You are strong.
Touch the leader. Yes, thank you.
Touch the leader is an expression used to mean that a tarpon has been landed. When the guide or a colleague has been able to hold the leader, then the catch is approved. This is so you don't have to take every fish into the boat. But this is Janne's record fish, so we take it in to get some pictures for the trophy wall.
It's big. You see? Yeah! 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 Yes, sir! Oh my God. Oh my God. One biggest tarpon.
The fish need some time to get over the shock, and luckily there were no sharks around,
That was a
because the
fat
tarpon's
one.
vulnerable until it's recovered its strength.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks a lot. Good guiding, and a bit of luck from my side. Yeah, right? Yahoo! Åh, fy fan vad trött man är.
If it's very windy, you can go up the rivers, the tidal channels through the island's mangrove swamps, fishing for snook and baby tarpon. There's also an area of large, shallow lagoons, which is the tarpon's nursery. With the right tackle, you can enjoy some exciting fights, and they're just fantastic at jumping. The harbour's within the island, providing shelter from the winds. After several attempts to negotiate the high waves on the ocean side of the island, it feels lovely to be out of the swell. The biggest fish are in the deeper waters, but there are some large shoals of baby tarpon just cruising around here. While we've come to the island for the very special fishing, we take the chance to enjoy the natural beauty and the other wildlife. There are lots of different birds and animals to see on the small islands, including these iguanas. Another beautiful morning with light winds, perfect conditions. The guides are reporting sightings of tarpon and expectations are running high.
Morning.
Morning.
Lobo, ¿cómo está?
Another big one lost. Yussi had a painful fight with a little cut on his finger from the howling backing. And no matter how much he tries to get a scar by opening the wound again and again, he doesn't succeed. So there's no visible proof of this fight.
Lucas from.
Ja. Jag såg han gick upp och hoppade. Det är en gigantisk fisk. No, it's not so much.
Not so much.
Left. Oh dear.
When Yanni caught his fish, it was the biggest tarpon we'd ever seen. But Uffy's fish seems to be huge.
The fish is out there somewhere, and the line goes here.
But after having sat on the bottom with backing in several places, Uffy's despairing.
Oh, jag såg den. Och som en delfin.
When the line's free from the coral and there's direct contact with the fish, things feel much better.
Små boxerar pråm där. More water please.
Yes, sir. You're the boss.
When we see the back for the first time, it's hard to believe it's a tarpon. It's really broad It must be over 30 centimetres wide.
First of all, I like you to touch the leader.
He doesn't like me.
Who does? I'm joking. Now, here's the leader. Here's the leader. Thank you.
We've touched the leader and our happiness is unlimited. Landing it for some pictures is just a bonus. What a fish, and what a way to end our trip.
Måste hjälpa honom.
What?
Lägg en lastbälte på.
Here. This is the place. Okay. This is
tarpon, you see.
motherfucker.
Yahoo!
Wow. Shit, man, this is like 160. Yeah.
Oh.
Woo.
Yeah. He's coming.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, this is. Good. Here you go, baby.
Thank you again.
All right. Give me a hug, man. All right.
An intensive week's fishing in Mexico is over. And as usual, it only takes a few hours ashore before you miss the feeling. Even a good drink and a wonderful sunset can't remove the melancholy of the final evening. So you have to make the most of your memories from these different trips and carry on dreaming about the next fishing adventure. There's an endless number of destinations to visit, and we look forward to seeing lots of new places and enjoying exciting fishing during the coming year.
No roster go out there and steer, oh no. No roster go and feel like you see, yeah. He tried to make the way.